What's up, everybody out there? How are you doing? Thank you so much for clicking that thumbnail over here at Pepe La View. I really and truly do appreciate it. I want to say thank you to you new viewers, you returning viewers, and you subscribers. Thank you so much. I really and truly do appreciate it. And, well, it wouldn't be me, Pepe La View, over here without you all. And I just want to say thank you so much. And I know I've been away from talking about R&B divas, but that's what I do over here. I like to talk about R&B divas. And don't worry, I will get to the soul man. Yes, I will. But right now we're in the year 1995 at the Soul Train Music Awards, and we're talking about the R&B Soul Album of the Year Female. Interesting category. But I tell you one thing for sure, this definitely brings me back to 1994. Oh my gosh. Like, I really and truly do enjoy going back down memory lane over here because I'm like, wow. As a matter of fact, I had all of these albums except for Michelle Ndegelcello. Wow, I pronounced it right the first time. But I did. And I have to say that it was definitely a welcome back for Anita Baker in 1994 when she came out with Body and Soul, the single of her album Rhythm of Love in 1994. Oh my gosh, I was like relieved. She hadn't released anything since 1990s Composition. Now, I have to tell you, I love that album so much that it definitely was, how should I say? Well, it did its purpose for 4 years. That's right. And yeah, well, served its purpose, I would say, for 4 years. Like, I was definitely deep into the Anita Baker album compositions and songs such as Whatever It Takes, Lonely, and Fairy Tales just definitely kept things moving for me. Oh, I can't forget Soul Inspiration as well. Love those songs on the album. Love the entire album. Compositions by Anita Baker. And so, as I said, when she came out with Body and Soul in 1994, I was like, oh my gosh, like, yes, she's back, she's back, she's back. And I'm in high school. So by this time, of course, you know, I can get my own CDs now, right? I'm definitely at the record store and I am purchasing CDs. And I must tell you, I purchased that Anita Baker album back then. And it was definitely a different album than what I was used to with Anita Baker. It was a different sound. I have to say, overall, I would say I'll give the album maybe a B+. It's not the A that it should have been, but it's a different sound for her. It's definitely a refreshed sound, I must say. But still, there was something missing. It could have been that she was no longer with Michael J. Powell on that album. He didn't show up at all as far as the production was concerned. So I guess you could say that she was missing that Michael J. Powell funk or that stank, if you will. But again, it was great to see Anita Baker. And then we have two new young divas show up. And I never really thought about Aaliyah and Brandy showing up at the same time. I didn't. I don't know why until now. But of course, as I said, it's 1994, right? Brandy comes out in 1994. Aaliyah comes out in 1994 as well. I don't think she came out in 1995. She came out in 1994. And so it's just like I said, I'm just kind of surprised that, well, they came out around the same time. And then they're young, fresh faces at that. Yeah. We'll probably talk about Aaliyah and Brandy a little bit more, but what I will say is that I think, oh gosh, see, I can only go by the vibe at my school, I guess, and go on the vibe that I was getting maybe from other people. I think we all liked Aaliyah, but for whatever reason, I think people were pretty much digging Brandy from what I could tell. I don't think, I think because Brandy's sound, and when I say sound, I mean not only her vocally, but as far as how the records were produced maybe like youthful along the lines of TLC. And Aaliyah, her sound was more mature. And so she definitely had a following, Aaliyah did. But I don't, it would probably have to be among adults or a mature audience. And Brandy, I would say a younger artist. Younger audience. Sorry about that. But now we also have, as I said, Michelle Ndegelcello. Woo! I think when I think about Michelle, I got to say I probably think along the lines of a Jill Scott, and not only Jill Scott, but Erykah Badu. I'm not going to say she was before her time, but I would like to think that she was. I would want to say that she was definitely before her time. And, I think she set the stage for what was to come. And I would say she set the stage as far as what was to come in the music industry, what we would expect from then on out. Because I think we had Erykah Badu first, and then Jill Scott. So we have Michelle, Erykah Badu, and Jill Scott. And I must say that Michelle, the same way I feel about Jill Scott, the same way I feel about Erykah Badu, it was a slow move. It was like, okay, not necessarily interested, but okay, I think I can go along for the ride because I know I get her, I would say. I understood immediately what she was doing and what she was trying to do. And I must tell you, the song Dreadlock, oh my gosh, that's all I have to say. Very sensual. I love it. And I had to actually play Michelle's album because I hadn't heard it in its entirety. And so in order to do this video, I had to, stop for a second. Let me check out Michelle. And again, I think I'm discovering I love my belters. I love those divas who, pretty much just let it rip, let it flow. Who I guess you can call them those earth mothers, the Patti LaBelle, Shaka Khan's, Aretha Franklin. That's just what I like. And I think I'm going to be okay with that. But I'm definitely going to do my best from here on out to be as objective as possible and understand that, of course, I have my own personal tastes, but I won't allow that to steer me, into, always saying, the ones I like are better than the category as a whole. So trust me, I am checking myself on that. So what do you think? Interesting category, I must say. Interesting category for the R&B Soul Album of the Year. And of course, we haven't talked about the person who wins at this moment in time, but we're definitely rooting for a particular diva, I would say. I think we are all probably rooting for Anita Baker and saying, okay, I'm talking about in the industry wise, like she's back. So definitely we want to see her take home the trophy. It will be a tie between Brandy and Aaliyah. But before we do that, let's go back down memory lane, shall we? As I said about the Anita Baker album, it was a different sound, and she actually showed back up this time around, and I was pleasantly surprised when I looked at the album credits for this. The album credits, that I saw Patrick Moulton up here for co-writing the song Rhythm of Love. Now, Patrick Moulton, and I do believe he's no longer with us, may he rest in peace. He showed up on Anita Baker's first album, didn't he? The Songstress. And he wrote quite a few songs on that album for Anita Baker. I'm trying to remember exactly what those songs were, but right now they're not coming to me. But I think he co-wrote Angel, Feel the Need, Squeeze. But you know what? Take that back. I'm going to say Patrick wrote the majority. If he didn't write, he co-wrote the majority of the Songstress album. Now that I think about it, it's the production part. Like, what did he produce? Did he produce anything on the album at all? And I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say, if I remember correctly, Patrick Moulton definitely was heavily involved with Anita Baker's first album, from writing the songs and producing the songs. So to see her team back up with him was great. Here's another thing too, you guys, that I found very interesting. Body and Soul. Body and Soul was co-written by Ellen Shipley. Now, if you notice when I showed you my R&B diva catalog, you saw Belinda Carlisle. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, this Ellen lady wrote songs for Belinda Carlisle. I was like, whoa. And I don't know what to say. Like, right now, I'm speechless to know that she actually wrote for Belinda Carlisle. And I was like, okay, I get it now. And now that I think about it, I definitely can see a song like Body and Soul definitely being written with Belinda Carlisle in mind. I can see Belinda Carlisle, honestly, singing Body and Soul. I can. I really, truly do think that that's a song made for her. So good job, Ellen Shipley, for showing up in the Anita Baker catalog. We welcome you with that. I guess some people could say, well, yes, you can go on and on and on and talk about the Anita Baker album, and I could, as far as her doing songs such as The Look of Love and My Funny Valentine. Yeah, I think she could have left it alone. I do. I think The Look of Love is definitely okay. I don't, but My Funny Valentine, I think by that time that song had been covered by so many people until I was like, okay, I don't want to hear it anymore. If I'm not mistaken, didn't Mickey Howard cover My Funny Valentine? I think she did. I think she recorded My Funny Valentine. I don't know. I think she recorded it in 1992, didn't it? No, she didn't record it, did she? No, I don't know why I'm thinking she recorded My Funny Valentine. No, that was Good Morning Heartache, right? I don't know why I'm thinking that she recorded My Funny Valentine, though. But I do know Shaka Khan did. I know Shaka Khan recorded it for the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack, right? Right? I want to make sure. It's somehow or another that song popped up, and I was like, oh my gosh, like again. Somebody, I think Shaka Khan recorded it on the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack. And yeah. So And I think she recorded it before Shaka Khan did. So maybe it was Shaka Khan. Somebody, one of those ladies, I'm sorry, had recorded My Funny Valentine, and I was like, okay, that's enough of this song. I'm done with this song. So I don't understand why they would record it again. But it's what it is. We're moving on from that. So as I said, Anita Baker shows up and she does pretty well. I think she hits 1 million copies sold, if I'm not mistaken. It definitely was one of her bigger albums at the time. Now, who knows now how many records it has sold, but I do remember the record going platinum during the initial release. Some publications have stated that the album sits at 2 million copies sold. But good for her, either way, good for her, good for Anita Baker. And of course, we also know that, this would be her last album for Elektra Records as well. She would not release another record for on the Elektra label. And it is what it is. So we're moving right along, and let's go to Aaliyah. Aaliyah shows up, and I immediately like the song Back and Forward. Back then, of course, you buy singles, waiting for me, I would wait for another song to be released before I entertain the album, unless I like the song so much that I would probably buy the album when it's released. And I think in the case of Aaliyah, that's what happened. I definitely had the Back and Forth single. And when the album came out, I pretty much ran to the record store to purchase the entire album. And I did. So I was definitely feeling Aaliyah's album. I actually had it. As I said, the song was, as I said, which is interesting. You remember now when I just told you about the fact that Brandy's sound was more TLC and Aaliyah's sound was more mature. So I saw in some publications that Aaliyah was compared to, sounding like En Vogue. And I would have to agree with that. But it's just something at the top of my head. That's why I say I kind of like doing this. I'm never off, I'm noticing. Like I'm pretty much right where I need to be when I'm discussing some of my favorite divas, and that's just great. I like that a lot. And let's look at the album. Of course, we know that she is the protege of R. Kelly. We are aware of that. And she's releasing a lot of songs off that album. Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, And I am going to do an Aaliyah video, but right now I'm just kind of focusing on her at this moment in time. And so we have Back and Forward that was released. And I'm sure the single did well. I would like to think so. Yeah, the single did well for her. And then At Your Best, You Are Love. I like that, the Isley Brother remake, that was great as well. But the thing about it, though, if she has a video for At Your Best, You Are Love, I don't remember it. I really don't remember it. That's interesting. Yeah. But anyway, moving right along. As I said, the album was okay. I liked it. As I said, it was just mature. Very, very, very much mature for her. And then we have Brandy. Brandy shows up in 1994, and the song I Want to Be Down, oh my gosh, I love I Want to Be Down. I still love I Want to Be Down. And if I had to choose between the two ladies, I would say I would choose Brandy over Aaliyah. Isn't that interesting? I'm always surprised at my choices because I would think I would choose Aaliyah over Brandy. But I guess, they do call Brandy the vocal Bible or something like that. Well, that's what they call her. But I do recall liking the record. But I don't recall liking the entire album at all. I don't. I think I like the songs that were actually released, which would be I Want to Be Down, Baby, of course, when Baby came out. I think Baby for Brandy was kind of like Real Love for Mary J. Blige. I think once that song came out, it was kind of like, okay, that's it. We got it. We have Brandy now. Like, good job, Brandy. Like we are so like in love and infatuated with you, and you are definitely, on our radar. And then the other songs like Best Friend and Broken Hearted are other songs on the album that I liked as well. As I said, when it comes to Michelle Ndegelcello, I don't have much to say. I don't know much about her at all. And again, neo soul. What's the other one that I'm trying to think of? There's a certain I'm thinking about Jason Lyrics. Not Jason Lyric. What's the name of that movie? Not Brown Sugar. The one with Lorenz Tate in it. Love Jones. Love Jones. I'm thinking more Love Jones than anything. I'm thinking Dionne Farris. What category is Dionne Farris in? Is when I think about Michelle Ndegelcello. But again, for those of you who don't know, Anita Baker actually takes home the trophy. She does. She wins the award for Best Female R&B Album. She wins it. Congratulations to her. Album of the Year. And I would say she definitely deserved it. And I can see why she won it. I think she won it basically because several things, but you could definitely say clout, and that would be okay. Absolutely. So now let's talk about other female artists who released music besides Aaliyah in 1994. And we're talking about 1994 because that's when the albums were released. However, we know they show up in 1995 at the Grammys. All right. But we'll talk about not the Grammys, but they show up at the 1995 award show for Soul Train. So we have Change of Faces comes out. You have Mariah Carey is out again. Janae. Oh my gosh. Janae. I forgot all about them for a second. Layla Hathaway, Desiree is out at the time. Jade is out. Patti LaBelle has released music. TLC, Karen White, CeCe Peniston. Oh my gosh. Yes, Black Girl. Love Black Girl. Angela Winbush, to name a few, who released music at the time. So good for them. Just like I said, a great time. I remember all of these songs. I remember that moment, that day, in that time. I do. Wow. Time definitely flew by. It did. And speaking of time flying by, we're almost at the 30-minute mark. So I want to say thank you so much one more time for your support, for liking, for commenting, for sharing, for subscribing. I appreciate it so much. You are sitting back listening to me talk about R&B divas. Well, you know what I'm going to say? Yes, please put your behind where your heart desires to be. Remember, whenever I leave my mother's presence, she says, baby, remember I love you, but God loves you best. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next video. And on that note, take care of yourselves. See you next video.